Hey everybody, Dr. Jared Skowron from Spectrum Awakening. Let me kind of review autism's beginnings. Number one, kids are either born with developmental delays from genetic problems, okay? You might be born with Fragile X. You might be born with a microdeletion or duplication syndrome. You might be born with a genetic mutation that causes a genetic condition that mimics autism. Like we've got a few kids with Charge syndrome that mimics autism in many ways. And they get diagnosed with autism but are born with a genetic condition. That's very few and far between. Most kids who have regressive autism, which is first 12, 18, 24 months, I'm starting to talk, starting to make eye contact, and all of a sudden goes away, regresses, right? That's the more typical 90-95% of people I know is really helpful. Not really helpful, is really what's causing the genetic, causing the autism regression. That regression does not come from a genetic condition, but it comes from toxicity, in my opinion. That's why detox is so essential for our kids' long-term recovery. And the road to recovery has to be through detox. So what I'm gonna go over today is a lot of the research that is important to understand when it comes to toxins and how we can detox, how we can detox with what we have, a couple other things that our families like to use. So we're gonna walk you through that. All right, so let's talk about the research. Now the first one, and of course, for all of you guys 45 and older, cheaters on. I feel like I'm watching one of my daughter's Paw Patrol cartoons or something, like, oh, we're gonna activate our superpowers. My superpowers are my cheaters. All right, here's one 4 years ago. Environmental factors in the development of autism, okay? They include a multitude of toxins, not just heavy metals. Heavy metals get all the press, all right? It can be toxins such as pesticides, phthalates, PCBs, solvents, air pollutants, fragrances, glyphosate. All right, glyphosate is Roundup, everything in organic, non-organic foods. Heavy metals, especially aluminum used in vaccines, have scientific data to show the role of environmental factors in autism. So we've got a lot of toxins out there that can cause and contribute to autism. Not just the heavy metals, not just the aluminum, but all these other things. We've got to get rid of them. Now, I personally, have a big soapbox issue with aluminum. I think aluminum is a primary cause for a lot of our autism regressions. Let's look at some scientific research behind it. Don't believe the guy on your phone. Let's look at the science. Okay, this is a very interesting article, which I'm going to get the full Monty. This is just the abstract, but it talks about aluminum toxicosis and a review of the actions and effects of aluminum. We either get aluminum through the air, which is pretty rare unless you work in a factory that has aluminum, through ingestion of water, food, and different medicines, and other injected things such as infusions, vaccines, etc. Even allergy shots. I got allergy shots when I was in high school and college. They have aluminum in them, okay? Now, that is going to cause a lot of problems, again, which we'll get into, and one of them is autism. We'll talk about it, but I'd like to highlight that absorption of aluminum is increased by things such as a deficiency of calcium and magnesium, as well as fluoride, okay? So let's highlight fluoride there for a second. What's fluoride? Well, fluoride is another substance that is in a lot of city water systems. Why? Because there's this thought that fluoride helps your teeth, okay? But fluoride does have some level of toxicity, and which is a reason that many people in the kind of up and coming, scientific community are concerned about fluoride's toxicity, especially when ingested. One of those things is increasing the absorption of aluminum. So you're going to get more aluminum. If you've got aluminum in your food, if you're ingesting aluminum, and all of a sudden you're drinking city water that has fluoride in it, like the city water that we have where I live is fluoridated, all right? So we've got a reverse osmosis system in our house. Clean everything out. The water tastes amazing, by the way, after reverse osmosis. We drink the regular tap water that didn't go through. It's disgusting. All right, so that's an important thing to remember. Here's another research study. Exposure to aluminum, cadmium, mercury, and autism spectrum disorder. Levels of mercury, Hg is mercury, mercury in the hair, urine, and blood were all positively associated with autism, and levels of aluminum in the hair and urine were positively associated with autism. So we know the more heavy metals that we find in our kids, the higher the risk of autism. Why? Because these metals are neurotoxic. These metals do nothing for our health. They do nothing for our body except destroy it. period. Why do we put these things in our body? Because the world of corporations know that these substances help maintain their shelf life of their product and are harming us. So we need to avoid them as much as possible. All right, next. Here's another research study that shows a significant and positive correlation was found between hair, metal burden, lead, aluminum, arsenic, and cadmium, and the severity of autism symptoms. Okay, and again, there were so many of these research studies, I couldn't print them all and go through them, so I just wanted to print a handful. This is a really good one, and I've got the full thing for you to read. And I want you guys to read the full scientific research study if you're interested. This is aluminum as a central nervous system and immune system toxin across the lifespan. This is published by Chris Shaw. Chris Shaw, love him. Dr. Shaw is a PhD in Vancouver, Canada, and he has done so much good research about the toxicity of aluminum and reasons we should avoid it. Not just our kids with autism, but everybody. So if you want to read that research study and more, okay, I've got a free course on our website that reviews aluminum as a toxin and its association with autism. We've interviewed Dr. Chris Shaw. We have a recorded interview with Dr. Shaw, as well as Dr. Parker, who talks about Tylenol toxicity, as well as Dr. Paul Thomas, who's a pediatrician out in Oregon, who just got disbarred for practicing unconventional type of medicine, as well as the producer of the Greater Good vaccine documentary. We're trying to get Dr. Chris Exley, and he's the researcher from England, who does all the research about the Fiji water. He just got all of his grant money pulled from the university where he does his research because the corporations at large are trying to clamp down on the information that's coming out that this stuff is toxic. This stuff is toxic. You shouldn't have it. And it may be greatly contributing to kids with autism. I get a little passionate when I'm angry. All right. Next, the role of genetics in blood aluminum concentrations in children with autism. It all has to do what genes, what genetics predispose you to have autism regression. That's the key, all right? The genes that contribute to high levels of aluminum are your glutathione genes, GSTP1, GSTM1, GSTT1. We talk about these in this course that I've got. Again, the course is free. We've got it pinned here on the Facebook Live. Just go log into the course, watch the course, okay? It's going to give you these research studies. It's going to talk about the genetics and the predisposition to the aluminum toxicity. It all has to do with glutathione and aluminum toxicity, okay? And one thing I need you guys to do, I love doing this Facebook Lives, I love talking about this stuff, I love helping kids, but I need you to spread the word. So please, like and share all of our videos. Let's get this word out so people can learn and do what they want. All right, what's next? All right, two more. Next, this is another one about fluoride exposure and the risk of autism. We show that fluoride is a synergistic interaction with aluminum's free metal cation. Again, more info about how fluoride makes aluminum more absorbed into the body, into the brain, causing neurotoxic effects, which are well known. In fact, do I have it here? Oh, I got it. Hold on. This is what it's all about. This is a 300-page book called The Toxicology Profile for Aluminum, published by the US government, their toxicology group. I downloaded this from the CDC's website and printed it out. All right, 300 pages talking about the toxicity of aluminum, which is in your vaccines, which is in aspirin, which is in Tums and antacids, okay? It's so ubiquitous, but yet so much of a problem. You wanna get this? It's on that course that I've got, all right? Just go to the course, sign up for the course, watch the course. You can get these research studies, you can get this, download it, no, all free. Just go. I want you guys to learn. I want you to learn what is really out there. I'm passionate. Okay. Next. What's next? We know that this stuff is in our body, okay? If you want to test for it, right? You can do a heavy metal test. If you want to look at aluminum and lead and mercury, you've got a few options. Number one, you can do a blood test through your practitioner, your doctor. You can do a hair test. I'm not as sold on the hair tests because those are going to also get environmental exposure. Okay, so if there's any kind of substances getting onto the hair versus grown from within, those substances will falsely elevate those heavy metal levels. That can be an issue. So we do urine. Okay, if you want a urine heavy metal test, we've got one on our website. Okay, order it, we'll ship you the test kit, pee in a cup, send it to the lab, bada bing. All right. So that is very good way to find out, do I have this stuff? And then you got to get rid of it. Okay, it's a lot of different ways out there to try to pull out these toxins. And because there are a lot of different toxins, there's a lot of different ways to pull out different ones. All right, some ways are better than others. Let me walk you through what we have through Spectrum Awakening, and then, kind of talk to you about some other common things that are out there. Number one, we have a detox bundle on our website. That detox bundle are 3 different things. Number one is our homeopathic to remove mercury and aluminum. That is called shot support. Now, mercury and aluminum are heavy metals in our vaccines that do cause brain damage. They're neurotoxic, period. Okay? This is an FDA approved homeopathic called shot support, supports the normal removal. Got it. Also, you need some kind of binder. Okay? I like chlorella. Chlorella is a great binder. In fact, here's a research study on chlorella and how it decreases heavy metal levels. This one looked at mercury specifically, but it is well known to help detox many heavy metals, all right? Our chlorella supplement is called Detox Binderific. Great, okay? When you're detoxing, I highly recommend a mineral supplement simultaneously, because when you detox, you start to pull out minerals that you need. So get the Detox Mineral Support. Those 3 are available bundled together on our website at a discount. You can get them all together, you can get them individual, but that's what we've got. Now, there are other things out there that are very popular, okay? Number 1, zeolites. Zeolites are a very common supplement that's out there. There are many brands, and zeolites will help pull out heavy metals only. They will not help pull out the plastics and the pesticides, okay, and all those other type of environmental toxins, due to their electrical charge. Okay, detox partially works based on magnetism and electrical charge. If you have a positively charged heavy metals, most of them are positively charged, you put in a negatively charged substance and it'll bind it. That's what zeolites do, okay? If you have a negatively charged toxin, such as plastics, pesticides, molds, etc., you need something positively charged to bind it like a magnet so you can poop it out, all right? Zeolites are negatively charged. They bind positively charged heavy metals, but not the negatively charged stuff, okay? Talking fast, getting excited here. All right, so other things that are common, which have been used for decades. I mean, we're going back to the 1940s. Things like DMSA, EDTA, DMPS. These are mostly sulfur-based molecules that will help detox certain substances. So those are very common as well. A little bit more aggressive. You've got to be really careful on dosing and such and when you give them. But those type of over-the-counter supplements are also a way that people will chelate. So, and I would say lastly, and then I want to make a quick comment, lastly are the foot baths, all right? So a lot of people talk about foot baths. Some people love foot baths. Some people don't love foot baths. And let me say this. Initially, when I started working, I thought foot baths were a crock of poo, all right? Mostly because of the marketing. The marketing, you sit there, look, I've been to these health shows, you go up to the exhibitor booth, everybody's sitting there with their feet in the water and it turns all brown, all right? And the salesman will sit there and be like, look, it's all brown. Toxins are coming out. The brownness does not come from that. You can put the machine in there and run it, and the water will turn brown on its own without any feet in there, okay? That's not the correlation, and that's why initially my BS radar was going off, all right? But what you can do, and we've done this, put the machine into distilled water. Distilled water doesn't turn brown, okay? Then I put my feet in a distilled water foot bath, and it started to turn yellow. We got a color when I added my feet, all right? We started getting something out. Not all the brown and the slime, etc. That comes from the rusting of the ions in the water itself, okay? So that's why initially I was suspect about them. But then I started reading the research. The research of these foot bath machines show that they do pull out heavy metals. And the research does this. The research takes the water, tests them for heavy metals, and then put the feed in there, run the machine, and test the same water again. And you'll get more heavy metals from in the water post-foot bath versus pre-foot bath. There's only one place for that to come from. It's from the thing that changed, which is the person. All right, so that's why now I do like the foot baths, and there's different brands. With those brands come different prices. Now, you get what you pay for, okay? The good machines alternate charge. Again, remember, this is all magnetism, okay? Most foot baths will deliver a negative charge to the water, attracting positive ions like heavy metals. Great. But only the good machines will have both a negative and a positive charge, and that alternates. They'll do negative charge for a few minutes and positive, back and forth, back and forth. So you're alternating which toxins you are pulling out, all right? So the one that has the most research behind it, which I like, is the Ion Cleanse Foot Bath. We've got a link on, which we've pinned here. If you're interested in the Ion Cleanse Foot Bath and you use ours, we are gonna offer a $50 gift card for our Spectrum Awakening supplements once you use our link for the Ion Cleanse Foot Bath. Okay, and the way it works, if you want to do this and you're gonna get an Ion Cleanse Foot Bath, use our link, and then you've got 2 months to try it out. Once that 2 month, and then you like a 2 month return policy for the Ion Cleanse to that company. Once that 2 months expires, they'll contact us and we can give you a $50 gift card for Spectrum Awakening supplements. All right, so if you're going to do it, that's the one we do recommend. All right, but again, it's the most expensive one. All right, and it is the most expensive one because it does this alternating of positive and negative charges. So again, a lot of different ways to detox, a lot of different things out there, but it needs to be done no matter which way you do it. You do the foot baths, you do the supplements, you do the IV chelation, whatever you are doing, it still needs to be done. It needs to be done. We've got to pull these toxins out of our kids if we're going to really see permanent change. If the toxins are causing the problem, as all these research studies are indicating, then you got to get the problem out, period. Okay.